Welcome to The Explainer. I am so thrilled you're here today because we are tearing into one of the most misunderstood and, frankly, most exciting shifts in technology right now. We're talking about the massive enterprise shift from AI systems that just answer questions to AI systems that independently act and drive real, measurable outcomes. If you've been paying attention to enterprise tech in 2026, you know exactly what I mean. Seriously, think about your current tech stack for a second. Is your AI just deflecting customer problems, or is it actually resolving them? Vendor pitches kind of blur together after a while, right? Every demo claims to have AI-powered automation, but there is a totally frustrating reality beneath the surface. The distinction between an AI that simply answers a query and one that actually takes action determines whether your investment truly reduces headcount and boosts satisfaction, or if it just becomes an incredibly expensive piece of shelfware. Okay, let's look at the agenda. Today we're going to cover tasks versus true outcomes, inside the Agentic Loop, multi-agent orchestration, driving real ROI, governance and chaos testing, and finally, mapping out the timeline for the autonomous enterprise. Let's get right into it. Section 1. Tasks versus true outcomes. So this right here is the fundamental paradigm shift we have to understand. We are moving away from simply executing a linear task to generating a full business outcome. On the left, we have traditional AI agents. These are your standard task automators. They're reactive, heavily constrained by their training data. A really great analogy from our research is that traditional agents are like a knowledgeable colleague that you literally have to prompt for every single step you ask a question. They give an answer, they stop. But on the right, we have Agentic AI. This is entirely focused on outcome generation. It's proactive. It handles multi-step branching workflows. Agentic AI is like a highly competent junior employee. You don't give them step-by-step instructions. You just give them a goal and they return with a completed result.
Section 2. Inside the Agentic Loop.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how the system actually achieves those goals without you holding its hand the whole time. Stripping away all the jargon, here is the actual engine of Agentic AI. It's a 5-step loop. First, it receives a goal. Again, not a script, an outcome. Second, it plans the steps required, breaking that goal down. Third, it securely uses tools. This is absolutely crucial. It's actively calling external systems, APIs, or databases. Fourth, it checks its own result against the original goal. And fifth, it either adjusts its course if it hit a roadblock or it finishes and hands off the completed task. This loop right here is what allows the AI to navigate ambiguity totally on its own.
To make this concrete, let's look at how this plays out in the real world across different industries. In e-commerce, a traditional AI agent might just, link a customer to the return policy. Super basic. But an agentic system, it receives the refund request, verifies the purchase window, checks inventory, processes the transaction in the payment gateway, and fully resolves the ticket. In SaaS, it goes from just resetting passwords to actually calculating prorated billing and managing access updates. In insurance, it moves from just providing a claim status to actively triaging a first notice of loss and verifying the complex policy details. It is literally the difference between doing a chore and solving a problem.
Section 3. Multi-agent orchestration.
So what happens when a problem is just way too big for one AI? In a modern enterprise, you're rarely going to have just one agent working in isolation. Multi-agent orchestration is this brilliant framework where you have multiple, highly specialized AI agents collaborating. It's like a giant puzzle coming together. Imagine one agent whose only job is to gather data, another that acts as an analyst, and a third that executes the final action. They share context and coordinate tasks under an overarching orchestration layer to hit a shared objective. This means they can solve massive, multi-departmental problems exponentially faster than a single monolithic model ever could. And we are seeing incredible real-world examples of this right now in 2026. Take Devin, for instance. It's a full-stack autonomous software engineering agent that doesn't just write code, it plans projects, runs tests, and actually deploys features. Or Clarity IQ, which lets legal teams query and compare massive contracts as if they were literally chatting with them over coffee. And then there's NotchOS, which is just fascinating. Their platform orchestrates over 40 distinct specialized agents, one for identifying the customer, one for gathering requirements, one for taking action, all working together seamlessly to fully resolve complex customer support tickets without any human intervention.
Section 4. Driving real business ROI.
All of this tech is super impressive, but why does this shift from deflection to resolution actually matter for the C-suite? Well, the financial reality of this shift is massive, 171%. According to Landbase's 2026 research, that is the average return on investment enterprises are reporting when they successfully deploy true agentic systems. When success criteria and governance are locked in, the financial payoff of moving from simple chatbots to autonomous problem solvers is absolutely massive. Let's ground that ROI number in some striking data from our sources. By deploying agentic architectures, we're seeing a 92% improvement in handling time for customer support. And in the highly regulated world of banking compliance, we're talking know your customer, anti-money laundering workflows. McKinsey is reporting productivity gains as high as 2,000% on specific tasks. That's just wild. And companies like Guardio are using systems like Notch to clear 20,000 ticket backlogs in a matter of days with an 87% resolution rate. This right here is why outcome-based pricing is becoming the norm. Vendors like Notch are literally staking their revenue on actual ticket resolutions, not just automated responses.
Section 5. Governance and chaos testing. But getting these autonomous systems safely into production is incredibly difficult. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. While a massive 79% of enterprises have adopted AI agents in some form, only 31% actually run them successfully in a live production environment. That means almost half of all enterprises have bought into the tech, but they're completely stuck. They just can't get it out of the testing phase and into the real world. Which brings us to a really provocative question. Why do 88% of AI pilots fail to reach production? It is literally the biggest hurdle in enterprise AI right now. If the models are so incredibly smart, why are they blowing up on the launchpad? Well, actually, the root causes of these failures are scoping and governance, not the underlying AI model itself. The failure isn't because the AI isn't smart enough. Research from the Stanford AI Lab shows that when multiple agents interact, 67% of failures stem from unpredictable interagent communication and stale data retrieval. The context window fills up, the agent completely loses track of the goal, or the retrieval system feeds it old data because the pipeline wasn't validated for production loads. It is a data and governance gap, plain and simple. So, to bridge this gap and make sure they're compliant with strict frameworks like the EU AI Act, forward-thinking teams are fundamentally changing how they test. They're using advanced tools like Xyrix Test Autopilot to run simulation-based environments, or digital twins, to safely model agent behaviors before they ever touch live data. They're utilizing behavioral pattern analysis to track exactly how agents are making their decisions. And crucially, they're running chaos engineering, intentionally simulating agent crashes, network delays, or even adversarial prompt injections, just to see if the multi-agent system can recover gracefully. Section 6. The new autonomous enterprise. You can't just flip a switch and become an autonomous enterprise overnight. Based on deployment data, here's the realistic timeline for getting an enterprise-wide multi-agent system from a pilot to a fully governed, optimized production state. Months 1 through 3 are purely foundation and scoping, auditing existing processes and defining strict success metrics. Months 4 through 8 are for the pilot and data readiness. This is where you deploy in limited scenarios, validate those data pipelines, and keep a close eye on any emergent behaviors. Finally, months 9 through 12 are where you scale and optimize across the enterprise. It's a deliberate 6 to 12-month journey to ensure these systems are actually trustworthy. Which leaves us with this final critical thought to ponder today. I want you to take a hard look at your current tech stack and ask yourself, is your AI just automating a few isolated tasks, or is it truly owning the outcomes? Because as we've seen throughout this explainer, settling for basic task automation in 2026 means you are likely paying for some incredibly expensive shelfware. It's time to demand true resolution. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive, and I hope this helps him navigate the very exciting shift toward agentic AI.